Hello, hopping on this Quarantine Cup finals match between Truffles and Fireonice. Chat has already determined that Rebuild is liked. I am not so sure myself. This is, I think, Fireonice's first or second appearance in the finals. I don't think Fireonice or Truffles have won a Quarantine Cup before, so exciting to get some new players into the finals. So it's not Tracer that wins every week. Fireonice opened with a silver. Truffles bargained for Embassy, gaining Fireonice a silver and a horse. That's kind of nice once you've already bought a silver. You've seen your opponent buy a silver to be able to toss them off a silver as well. As you really don't want like a ton of silvers on this kingdom, but maybe that's not right. There's hideout for trashing, and you'll have extra room for trashing. I think the thing here is that you can build an engine. There's plenty of village support. There's plenty of draw. But there's not plus buy, so it's going to be hard to do more than single province per turn. So once you've built your engine, you're building an engine that gains a province every turn. If somebody is not building an engine and just goes for rebuild strategies, then they can be gaining 3 points a turn from pretty early, whereas the engine is gaining 6 points a turn starting at some point later. And the rebuild is milling provinces along the way. So the question is, can you get the engine online faster than your opponent can get rebuild strategies online? And both the players, Truffles and Fireonice, have elected to build an engine here, it looks like. I think fishing village is sort of the key card. If you're going for rebuild strategies, you're probably not buying any fishing villages. Fireonice getting a Wandering Minstrel there. That's going to be nice for cycling through. There's still a lot of junk in these decks, and they get an Embassy. Only one hideout bought so far. I realize it's only turn 4, but that's kind of one of the cards that I want to have if I'm trying to build some kind of engine. It also is hard to get, is more value the earlier you get it. So we'll see if Fireonice gets one here, or if they're going for more the dirty engine strategy where they're not really trying to draw deck every turn. They're just trying to chain together actions when they can to get good price points. I hear as Fireonice would consider stampeding. Nerdbound once wanted rebuild, but says a fast embassy build is competitive. They don't seem to be going for fast embassy builds with the existence of the villages. Embassy for big money is a really strong card because it draws 5 and discards 3. So in an engine, that can be annoying. You're drawing, you have to discard good cards. But in a money deck where you have a bunch of coppers and estates alongside silvers and golds, it doesn't feel nearly as bad. Truffles bargaining there to get another embassy and a horse, and giving Fireonice a silver and a horse. One of the nice parts about the embassy deck, one of the nice parts is that the silvers kind of clog up what they're trying to do with the engine. I'm not quite sure. Like, if I saw my opponent buying embassies, that makes me want to go more towards money because I'm getting the free silvers along the way. The engine doesn't need the silvers as much because the engine's trying to draw through the deck. And all you need at the end of the day is 8 money, which is going to be easy to get in this kingdom. So I assume this will be discard 2 estates and an embassy here. The silver should help rebuild hit 5 early, which is what you want to do with rebuild. Get a couple of rebuilds, rebuild your estates into duchies, your duchies into provinces, and then province into province is a general kind of rebuild strategy. Especially in this kingdom where the engine is going to be looking to buy provinces. And if the provinces get low, all they can do is buy a single duchy, which is not particularly helpful. Fireonice has a tough call here. I think you might stop and just buy province. There's a weird shuffle they can trigger here. I think they have triggered that shuffle now. So they can play the embassy, and they'll still have 2 bad cards on top. Or right now, I believe they have 4 bad cards on top, which probably is not what they want. Yeah, they sort of were guaranteed a dud on this turn. And it doesn't look like we're going for the full thinning strategy. We're just getting enough villages so we can play a couple embassies and start buying provinces. I don't know, this feels a little bit weirdly in between. I kind of want there to be a more coherent embassy money strategy. The couple of villages don't seem like they're really helping embassy that much. They're kind of getting in the way of you drawing your villages. You're going to be drawing a lot of villages dead. And we see Fireonice here does go with the Stampede, which I like when you get 5. It seems to be worth more than a Duchy at this point of the game. I also think it's reasonable for either of these decks, if you're trying to draw deck, to pick up 1 rebuild. It enables you to gain more than 6 victory points in a turn, which is a huge deal in a kingdom where your opponent is going to be strictly limited to gaining 6 victory points in a turn. But the opportunity cost is over, again, something like Stampede, which lets you get a nice turn guaranteed. Here I think I'd play the Wandering Minstrel first to trigger this shuffle. And then you can count how many cards are in the discard and figure out what you need to play after that. Yeah, so certainly they can play that. This is not super easy for me to decide what I want to do here. They do have a Wandering Minstrel down there. They can consider just playing 1 horse probably and then buying a province. They elected to okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Nerdbound, throw the horses into the shuffle. That actually was quite nice. They draw dead the village, but they've got 3 of their horses saved for next turn. So it looks like that Stampede is paying out value over multiple turns. Often Stampede only gives you value for the 1 turn, but Fireonice had a nice sort of tactical play there. Truffles already getting duchies, which makes sense. Again, it's a single gain kingdom, so that's kind of all you can do is gain duchies when you can. I think you can consider here as, yeah, Fireonice just buying the province, knowing that you have cards coming up in your next shuffle. So we're holding pace here. Both players are able to province most turns. And if Fireonice duchies here, they're going to be a half turn behind because Truffles was second player. And in the Quarantine Cup Finals, it's actually a pretty big advantage to be second player because a tie goes to the second place player in the Quarantine Cup. I got one myself that way. Actually, we've seen quite a few of those. It's the end of a long day of playing. Both players are a little bit tired. They've just played for 2.5 hours, 2 hours 50 minutes now. Played a bunch of games against a bunch of different opponents, but also it's getting into the stressful parts of the game. So, but both playing their best. Hopefully, a draw seems like a fair outcome, and that Truffles can definitely plan that into her strategy and say, well, all I need to do is, for example, if Truffles can buy a province here. Fireonice cannot take a province back on their turn. They have to take a duchy and try to dance around it. It looks like Truffles is not thinking about that. Nope, play all treasures happened. I assume, yep. Truffles, of course, I believe is a mod in other tournaments, and actually is a mod in this tournament, so it knows the rules quite well. Fireonice is in a real tough position here. Again, they've just found themselves a half a turn behind. They lost their first player advantage along the way. I'm not quite sure when that happened. Maybe that Stampede turn actually should have been a duchy already. It really made sure their next turns worked out nicely, but at the cost of that half turn. And Truffles has won the Quarantine Cup. Excellent job there by Truffles, finding the right mix of villages and draw cards, and then just a couple of treasures, and was able to get the win.